All right, today's lesson is to find the range, mean, median, and mode, the MMMR or the RMMM of a data set. Write that down with today's date and page number, and when you're ready, come back for the warm-up. Okay, your warm-up today is to order these numbers from least to greatest, number 1 and number 2, and then just some simple division for 3 and 4. Come on back when you're ready. So here are the answers you should have had. They weren't too hard, but we got to make sure you know how to order things, and that's going to come into play when we're working with stuff today. And you got to know how to divide numbers. Again, our warm-up has a lot to do with what you're going to learn today, or hopefully it should be more of a review today for a lot of you. Okay, MMMR, mean, median, mode, and range. Have some vocabulary today. We're going to have to make sure we write those down. So here's just a scenario to look at. We have players in a volleyball team, and they measure how high they can jump. So here are the results that we see. One can jump 13, one can jump 23, one can jump 21, one could jump 20, 21, 24, 18. If I was there, you'd have a 6. All right, this is a little easier for us to see. So one way that we can describe this data set, this is a data set. Let's put that down in our notebook. One way to describe that data set is we can find the mean. No, it doesn't mean that someone's going to be gruffy and probably terrible towards you. But it does mean that it's the sum of all the items divided by the number of items in a set. So if we needed to find the mean of this, we would add them all up and divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. Now, mean is also known as the average. So that's good to write down too. So the mean of the set of data that we see here is the average height that volleyball players could jump, or the volleyball team could jump. So all the individuals have theirs, but what is it as a team? Get down the information I have bracketed and such before moving on. All right, let's get some practice finding mean. We can come back to our volleyball scenario then and see if we can find the mean of that group. So let's say we were given this depth, this information. You can see that everything's put into a table, and the title of the table tells us what we're looking at. It's a great way to organize our stuff. So here's the depths of the puddles that you probably walked through on your way to school. So if we wanted to find the mean, here's the algorithm or process that you have to do. Add the values, and then divide the sum by the number of values. So you have to add 5, 8, 3, 5, 4, 2, and 1 together. That gives you 28. Then you're going to divide it by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You divide it by 7 because that's how many things you were measuring. And you'll find out that the average depth of the puddles is 4 inches. So pretty easy to find the mean. Get these notes down before going on, or you're going to find yourself a mean teacher because you didn't follow the directions. Use the word differently there. Here's another example. So these are the number of points that were scored in a game. We don't know what kind of game. It could have been a board game. Again, you don't have to write this down unless you want to. You already got one example down. So 96, 75, 84, and 7 have to be added together. So when you add those 4 together, you get 262. Then we got to divide it by 4, and you'll find out that the mean score is 65.5. The average score that people have scored in this game is 65.5. Now, one thing I do want to point out, which will come up in another lesson, this 7, if you know what we call this 7 or a number like that, write it down. You might earn yourself a 50 if you have the right answer. All right, here are 2 problems I want you to do on your own. Again, you're finding the mean of the data set. So first, what's the average of petals that you would see for the first one? Talking about flowers. And then the number of books read. Find the mean of each. Come back when you got your answer. All right, so for the first one, the mean for this was 22. Ooh. And for number 3, you found out that the mean was 6.5. Okay, remember that means average. So the average number of petals each of those flowers probably have, 22. The average books read by the group here, 6.5. Obviously, you didn't read half a book, or maybe someone did read half a book, but it's just the average. What's the average of all the things there? If you got those right, give yourself a pat on the back. All right, so remember it's MMMR that we're learning today. We did the first M. The other two M's and R are right here. These are the other things that you can use from a data set to find. So I do want you to write these down. The median is another way that we look at it. And the way that I remember median is the word middle. So the median is the middle value when the datas are all put in order, and you work your way back from the two outsides to find the center. I'll show you how to do that. Mode, this is when it is most often, is the way I remember this one. What number do you see most often? Oh, here it is. Write down that definition. And range is my favorite one. I think it's the easiest. All you got to do is look at the largest and smallest number, and what's the value between it. The difference is how I think about that. Difference means subtraction. Have these definitions down before moving on, and then we'll actually apply our knowledge to them. All right, so let's see if we can now find the mean, median, mode, and range of this data set. So let's say we were looking at car washes for 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. I'm going to assume we're doing these as a fundraiser, not just as a punishment, but maybe it is a punishment. Who knows? So if we had to find the mean of the car wash totals, first thing you have to do is add all four up. So add 6th grades 12, 7th grades 11, 8th grades 14, and 9th grades 15. Okay? When you add those up, you then have to divide by 4 because there's 4 things there. So the mean is 13. Now to find the median, what we have to do is we have to put all that data in numerical order. So that means from least to greatest, like we did in the warm-up. See how those things come back? You can see why we did division in the warm-up too. So for the median, all you have to do is kind of cross out the top and bottom number. Okay? And then you're left with 2 numbers in the middle. Sometimes you're left with 1 number in the middle. That's easy. That's the median. But for these, then, you just have to find the mean or average of these two. So you add them together, which gets you 26. And when you divide 26 by 2, you get 13. So the mean in this scenario and the median in this scenario are both 13. Then you got to figure out which number happens most often. Well, because we have an 11, we have a 12, we have a 13, and we have a 14, none of them have a repeat, so there is no mode. And then finally, you got to find the range. So you just take the largest number, which is 15, minus the smallest, which is 11. That gets you 4. So if you had to write the answer, you'd usually write it out as a sentence. The mean is 13. The median is 13. There is no mode. And the range is 4. Write this down as an example in your notebook, and then come back when you're done. All right. Here is your chance to do your own. There are 3 problems here. I want you to find the mean, the median, the mode, and the range of all 3. Now, as you can see, a lot of the stuff we're doing here is real simple math or just organizing our data. That's all I need you to do. When you come back, you might want to, when you come back, I'll check your answers. It usually helps to write your answer like this too. Write the word, what it equals, the other word, what it equals, the other word, what it equals, and the other word, R-A-N-G-E. Okay? Come back when you have them. Good luck. So here are the answers you should have had for these 3 problems. You can see that there was no mode for number 4 and 5. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you'll have a couple numbers that have the mode if you have several that have the same amount of numbers that come up. And the range, I think the interesting thing is, oh, that's hard to read. The range for the presidents, for the ages that they received the election for presidency, the range is 23. You had President Clinton was 46 when he became president, and you have President Reagan who is 69. That's quite a range between ages there. All right, if you got those all right, I want you to come give me a high five. If you missed any, come see me. Maybe I can help you try to figure out where the mistakes were. All right, what I want you to do is answer these 2. you can skip number 3. That's why I said these two. Skip number 3 and just do number 1 and 2. Full sentences, full thoughts. As you can see, a lot of the stuff that we're doing in this unit isn't a lot of math. It's more of organizing it and analyzing it. I think that's the best part to see, is we're analyzing the information given. And here's your quiz. 5 questions. The first 4 are all using that data, and number 5 has its own stuff. All right, good luck. Show your work, and we'll see you next time.